Hey, this is Andrew Brown, and this fall along, I want to show you tagging. And if you're hearing my heater in the background, it is super cold in my office. It's like -10 Celsius. I do not have heat, and I'm doing the best I can. So sorry for the background noise or the shuffling of the snowsuit. But let's go ahead and learn a bit about tagging, because tagging is such a useful skill that there's no way I was not going to show you this. So what we'll do is we'll go over to, let's say our GitHub examples repo. I'm gonna go over here, and yeah, we'll go into this one here. And what I want to do here is I want to start making some tags. And what we'll need to do is launch up a new code space. Okay, we'll give it a moment to load up, and I'll be back in just a minute. You know what? I think what I ended up doing was running the Exam Pro GitHub example. So I'm just gonna go back, because this one's never gonna work for me. And I'm gonna make sure that I'm in the correct directory. So it's this one that I want. And we'll go back up here. I'm gonna go ahead and, well, if I already have an active one, I would probably rather use that. So I'm just gonna open this one. You just gotta get your code space up, however you're gonna get it up. But I just wanna get in here and get working. So I'm gonna launch this one. No, that was the one that was building, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's wrong. Container build failed, checking troubleshooting, view logs. I didn't know you could check the logs as it's building. Docker buildx build failed. It's failing with Terraform. So I thought we I thought we fixed that. So if we go into this, is this still having the Terraform code in here? It is. So what I'm just going to do here, just to you know what I think it is, because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And what happened last time is it ran out of space, is what I noticed. It was really a weird thing that happened. So what I'm going to do is just stop this code workspace. Go up here. Stop, stop, stop. Let me stop it, please. You ran out of space. That's fine. I get it. Let me stop the workspace. Okay. And what I'm going to do, since this seems to get us more reliable results, is always deleting the code space. I'm going to go ahead and delete this here. And I'm just going to go ahead and make a new one. Okay? So go all the way back here to the Andrew Brown one here, and we'll make a new one. And unfortunately, that's the most reliable way to use code spaces. Again, I really prefer Gitpod. I don't have these issues with Gitpod ever, but we'll let this spin up and I'll be back here in just a moment, okay? And this environment is still failing to build. It's really bizarre what's going on here. And I'm not exactly sure why it's failing, but okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to view logs here, because maybe it's messing up on that Terraform again. It is Terragrunt. It's like downloading a bunch of stuff I don't need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here, and I'm just going to ignore this. I'm sure it's going to continue spinning up. I'm going to click into my dev container, and I'm going to edit this. And for whatever reason, it's just not working. So I'm going to comment this out for now. And we're going to just pretend Terraform doesn't exist. It was working fine so many times. But if that fixes it, that's good enough for me, okay? So I'm going to go to our code spaces again. Go ahead and delete this one. And I'm going to go back to that repo, if I can, please. Make sure I'm on the right one, and we'll go ahead and launch it, and then maybe, that must be old. Let me refresh that. I thought we stopped it. There we go. We'll start a new one, and then maybe this time we'll get into code spaces. So see you back in a second, okay? All right, so this environment finally worked. I guess Terraform was giving us trouble, and I thought these packages were pre-built. But I guess they must be compiling at the time of source code, and there's some issue that's happening. So it might not have that we ran out of space, it just might have not worked, and totally a detour to what we wanted to be doing. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and create a new folder here, and this one's going to be called tags, as we want to just work through some tagging stuff. readme.md, okay? And there's a few things I want to show you how to do. The first thing is how to tag. So like we could say version 1.0.0. We could push our tags. We will check out. We could check out a tag at some point. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. I don't think I need to show you that, but I'm just going to write it out here so you can see it. 1.0.0. We can do git tag -d 100 to delete our tag, and then we can delete our remote tag. Those are the three things I want you to know. So before we do this, I want to talk about semantic versioning, because semantic versioning is a way of tagging, okay? And most repos use this. If you see a V in front of it, I know I used V as an example there. In the actual slides, I put a V in front of it. But generally, this is the format that a lot of open source projects and places like to use. Depending on how old the project is, they might have just stuck with the V in front of it and use everything else with that. We could take a look here and see what Rails does as an example repo. Rails. And what I want to do here is just take a look at how they're tagging. So see, they have a V in front of it, but they've been around forever. And I'm just telling you, like at one point, this page did not exist. There was this idea of semantic versioning, but whenever it came out, you know, some of these projects existed before then. So that's the reason why you might not see it. But anyway, we'll come back all the way over here, and I like to stick with semantic versioning as best I can, as long as I remember how to do it. And so the idea is we'll want to apply a tag to a particular commit. And just to make things a little bit easier, let's get into a dark theme. And the other thing I'm going to want to have installed here is git graph. All right. And I think that if we have this installed, oh, it looks like it's already installed. Did it actually remember my settings? Remember I complained about how often it does not remember my settings? It might actually worked in this case. So if I go down below here, I have git graph and git log. They're actually both installed, but why the theme didn't persist, I don't know. And the idea here is that I want to be able to apply a tag. And the way we can do that is we're going to go ahead. We have some uncommitted changes. We can just say tagging. Whoops. We'll just say tagging here. And we'll go ahead and first try to apply a tag. So we'll say git tag 1.0.0. And it should show up here. There it is. Okay, great. But understand this tag is local. If we go over to our repo and we give this a nice refresh, it's not here. 0 tags. Okay? So if we want that tag to go up, I have to go git push -- tags. Okay? When you do your regular push, you can add that as well. You can see that it's been pushed. We'll go back over to here. We'll give this a nice refresh. And now we have one tag. We go over here, one tag. So good shape, right? And the idea is you can switch over to it just like a branch. You can check it out just like a branch. And so that's something that is really useful. If we go back over to git graph, we can now see it actually doesn't show you if it's pushed, which is one thing I think is a bit sad, but it doesn't show you when it's pushed. So that is one indicator that can be a little bit confusing here. And actually, when we did push tags, it didn't actually push the commit. So I always thought it did both, but I guess it only does the tag when you do that. So we'll type in git push and make sure that that's pushed as well. There we go. They're all over here now. Let's say we made a mistake with their tags. Sometimes you do this. You might, someone else tagged something and then you tagged it the same and you got to delete your tags. So we have to delete it in two places. We have to delete it locally, git tag -d 1000. Okay. But if you go here, it still exists. So I'm going to give this a nice hard refresh. And this absolutely exists. So if we want to get rid of this one, we're going to have to type git tag -delete origin 1000. Okay? And it didn't work there. I mean, that's the... Oh, you know, it's push. It's push. Sorry, it's push. We'll say git push delete origin 1.0.0.0. And so now it's deleted it. We probably should have took a look at the GitHub config file. There might have been something interesting there, but we didn't. I'm going to go ahead and give this a nice refresh here. And I'm just curious, well, this is Rails, it's not us. But if we go back here and give this a refresh, this should now be gone. And I'm just going to tag this one more time, okay? So I'm going to go ahead here and say git tag 1.0.0. I'm going to say git push -- tags. If you wanted to tag some other place, you have to check out that commit using the shawcode and then tag it. I'm not going to do that here. But let's go take a look at the the Git directory, because in that Git directory, it might show us something interesting in the config file. So we'll go to settings, and we know that we have to tell it to unhide certain stuff. Okay. So I'm looking for hidden files in here. It's somewhere in here. If I type in .git, could I find that? .git. Here it is. It's under exclusions. So I want to just take that out so I can see it. And we'll go ahead and open up our config directory. Because what I want to see is if there was any tagging information in here, and there's not. So there's nothing new here to see. I just thought there might be. But yeah, that's all there is to tagging, and we'll call this one done, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, so ciao.